I know I'm a little late to the party, but this week I watched Jungle Cruise. This is actually one of the first movies that I've watched on Disney Plus at home instead of going to the movies. Not for any particular reason, it was just there and convenient. I'd genuinely like to know if you guys have done this and if you like it. It was a little expensive, which would have mattered if my brother didn't pay for it, but I find the experience a little conflicting. I really like going to the movies and it's a big part of my life, but it is nice to be able to stay home sometimes. On the one hand, my dogs can make it really hard to watch sometimes, so I end up having to rewind, which isn't an ideal way to watch a movie, but I also don't have the option to rewind in the theater when I inevitably have to go pee. And what am I supposed to do? Not get the extra large sugar ice and not fill it up again when I go pee and struggle with what to do with the cup while I tinkle? I mean, seriously, what am I supposed to do? Hold it while I pee? That's disgusting. Maybe this is why it takes me so long. What was I talking about? Jungle Cruise. Jungle Cruise is a fine movie. It's not going to win any awards. It's pretty predictable and a little formulaic, which is fine. What struck me the most about the movie is just how similar it is to the other movie based on a Disney ride. No, not you, Haunted Mansion. It's never you. I forget you even exist sometimes. I'm talking, of course, about the hugely popular Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. Spoilers for the Pirates movies and Jungle Cruise moving forward. I know this is probably a pretty obvious comparison to make. They're both based off of rides, of course. But when I researched the coverage around this movie, which of course was a cursory Google search, this topic wasn't really discussed as much as I would have thought it would be. And that's why I'm here. Obvious topics that haven't been talked about because maybe they're just not that interesting. So here we go. First things first would of course be the heroes. Emily Blunt and her brother reminded me a lot of Turner and Swan, except, they're brother and sister, not romantic interests. But they represent the fish out of water characters, the audience surrogate, who also just happen to be extremely attractive. The other comparison is of course Dwayne Johnson and Johnny Depp, and not just because they look so incredibly similar in every way. The two leads are being helped by this eccentric but capable captain, who isn't in the context of the story supposed to be the main character. Depp was famously supposed to be a silly side character for Pirates, but when you cast an incredibly charismatic person, you can't be surprised when he takes over. I don't think the same thing happened in Jungle Cruise. The Rock is obviously supposed to be front and center, but it seems to me they're trying to recreate that formula here. I mean, they're even both captains of damaged, crappy boats. Even the story structure is pretty similar. Setup is initially a fetch quest for get the girl and go get the flower. Replace the woman with a flower. Nice, Disney, very subtle. A posh military dude who runs after them for reasons I don't remember and probably aren't important. The skeptic characters finding out that there's a mystical element here. A lot of boats and sailing happens. They run into natives, which to be fair doesn't happen in the first Pirates movie, but does later. Until finally, the climactic battle in a wet cave where the MacGuffin is all about phrasing. Am I crazy? Or are these movies similar? There's also a ton of just little stuff that I picked up on. Like how in Pirates, the sea does what it does to the bodies of Davy Jones' crew, and the jungle doing the same thing to the conquistadors, except jungle flavored this time. The moon mattering to the magic. Those same undead guys living without really living and discussing how it's not a good life. Shocker. There's also a lot of seeming or pretending to be dead in both of these movies, and these are just to name a few. Also, some of the shots even look really similar. Maybe it's a coincidence, maybe it's a tribute, maybe I'm imagining things, but I hadn't seen the Pirates movies in a while, and it's immediately what I thought of when I saw these shots. Now, are all of these similarities probably somewhat comparable to most adventure movies? Sure. This comparison is mainly being made because they are both movies based on Disney rides, which is why the decision here to make them so similar is a little bit baffling to me. They knew that everyone would make this comparison, and they did it anyway, which is a bit of a head scratcher. Why not take this opportunity to surprise people, to do something weird or different? And I know it's Disney. They love safe. One thing I think to note is that two of the executive producers were involved in the production of the Pirates movies. Maybe that doesn't matter at all, but I think it's worth noting. So the question is, does it matter? Does it matter to anyone that these movies are so similar? Well, ask Disney how much it bothers them that Pirates is based on a ride. $1 billion says not very much. To Disney, Pirates is a formula that prints money. If it makes money, then it's a win for the mouse, and they could care less how similar the two are. And Rock on Boat movie appears to be making money, more even than Rock with Monkey and Rock No Leg. At this point, the movie has been out for several weeks and has made almost 200 million worldwide, and that's without the Disney Plus viewers who, like me, definitely paid for it. We'll see how it stacks up at the end of the year, but it seems to be doing just fine. Clearly, viewers don't care it's so similar, and neither does Disney. So, do I care? I made this video after all. The one main difference between Pirates and Jungle Cruise is why all these similarities actually don't bother me all that much. It's the fact that this is a kids movie. Pirates seem to be going after a more teen to adult fan base, and I definitely feel that Jungle Cruise's demographics skew a little younger. Based on my nieces and nephews, who loved it and have never even seen Pirates, I'd say this movie was exactly what Disney wanted it to be. The teen to adult demographic is more than covered with Marvel, something that wasn't the case when Black Pearl came out. The live-action kid to preteen area is something I think Disney might not have as tight a grip on as they used to, and I wouldn't be shocked if that is exactly who this movie is trying to attract. Beauty and the Beast did that incredibly well. Mary Poppins didn't do as well as you would have thought, and I think this movie is trying to fill that exact position. Mission accomplished. And that's honestly fine with me. A movie that knows what it wants to be and accomplishes that is satisfying in its own way. And with that context, I enjoyed the movie. Besides, The Rock in full Spaniard getup is almost worth the price of admission on its own. Give me a movie where he just hangs out in Spain in that costume, I'd watch it. So Jungle Cruise, Pirates of the Caribbean, same movie, but that's fine. Hey, maybe in a decade we'll be talking about how much the new Monorail movie reminds us of Jungle Cruise, or how The Rock's performance as the Epcot ball was so much better than Old Man Roca. Who knows? Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a like, give me a subscribe. You know what to do. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next week. Cup lockers. Line them up beside the bathroom. You can put in your cup while you pee and retrieve your sugar afterwards. Now this is a good idea.